Hi, let's continue our discussion of money time value. So far, we discussed future value of one amount and the present value of one amount. And now we are going to continue and discuss the future value of a annuity. You see this word, it means that we have a series of consecutive payments rather than one that we had before of equal amount. So before with Appendix A, we said suppose we invest 10,000 once for 10 years and we calculated future value. Now in this case, we are going to say suppose we invest 10,000 every year, each year, a year. So whenever the investment takes place every year, that's called annuity, and you are going to end up with more money at the end of the time of the period, of course. So we are going to do some calculations with that. We are going to calculate future value of an annuity. Depends on the amount we consider and number of years we are going to invest it, and compounding interest of we have to consider some interest rate. And this is a piece of Appendix C, because this is the one that we are going to use to calculate future value of annuity. So remember, future value of one sum is Appendix A, future value of annuity is Appendix C. And if you want to use the ebook, you see those tables are bigger. So just make sure you are in the right appendix. That's D, so we have to move up here. That's Appendix C. Future value of annuity, we have more values here. So suppose we consider, let's keep the same type of example to see the difference. Suppose we invest $10,000, we said, for 10 years at an interest rate of 6%, let's say. So then future at the end of 10 years, with the compounding of 6% every year, you are going to end up, you multiply this factor 13.181 with $10,000. So that's going to be 131,810. That's future value of annuity of 10,000. So, and the book example is going to the book example here, it has actually, let's see what we have, future value of annuity of 1,000, number of years considers are 4, and the interest rate is 10%. So you can use these calculations too with scientific calculator, but if you prefer to use the appendixes, they already did this calculation inside the bracket for you. So let's look Appendix C, n equals 4, interest rate 10%, n equals 4, interest rate 10%, that's 4.641. So then that we multiply that by 1,000 here, and then we have 4,641. Okay, so that's the future value of a annuity. Now we are going to continue with more discussion here, and we are going to have present value of a annuity. What is the present value of, suppose, keep the same example. Your grandfather is going to provide for you a $10,000 annuity for the next 10 years at an interest rate, compounded at an interest rate of, let's say, 6%. Keep it the same. So what's the present value of all these future payments? Okay, so now we calculate present value rather than future value. So we are going to discount back all these future payments for 10 years. We discounted for 6% interest rate. So let's see how much would that be. So we had present value is annuity of $10,000. Now we have to use Appendix D for present value. See, we always have to check, make sure we are in the right appendix. So $10,000 times 10 years 6% is this number, 7.360. So we multiply this factor by 10,000. So the present value of $10,000 to be received for the next 10 years discounted at 6% interest rate is going to be 73,600. Okay, so of course after this video we are going to do all kind of applications with these concepts, but this is just the theory. We discussed the theory first. So that was another case, and again this is just an example of this table here, and Appendix D, present value of annuity. And they had an example, $1,000 to be received for 4 years, discounted back at 10% interest rate. Again, we go Appendix D, 4 years, 10% interest rate. That's 3.170. 3.17. Let's see, 1,000. And 4. Let's check again, make sure. And 4, 10%, 3.170. Oh, it's approximations here 3.169, but they should have the same. Let's see what they have. 3.170 here, yes. So they use more decimals here. I was confused. It has to be the same number, 3.170, yes. Okay, so this is what we are going to end up, 3,169.87 or 3,170 if we round up. Okay, now let's see. Let's do one more case here to keep this recording short. What about if we don't know the annuity value? Suppose we say, okay, you guys want to become millionaire by the time you retire. So let's try to come up with an example here. Suppose by the time you retire, you want to end up with $1 million, okay? And you know that you have to work around 4 years to retire. So n equals 40, you know your final goal 1 million, and let's say we use an interest rate, compounded interest rate. We don't know, of course, how much is going to be, but we are going to use an average interest rate. Let's say 4% per year, okay? So let's see what is that we are going to use to be able to finalize these calculations. Sorry about that. If you heard a little noise, that was the garage door. Okay, again, my final goal is to have $1 million, and I don't know exactly how much I have to put aside to end up with this amount at the end of 4 years. I consider an interest rate of 4%. Well, we are going to have to use Appendix C because I want to put some money aside every year. This is why it's an annuity. I don't know how much is, so I have to calculate that. So I know the final goal this time. I know my future value. I want to end up with $1 million. So because I know the future value, instead of multiplying, this time I'm going to divide that future value of $1 million by the factor that we are going to find in Appendix C. So now we have to go in Appendix C to find that factor. Appendix C, that factor, n equals, we said 4%. So we are going to look at this column, and then we are going to look at 40%, 40 years. Let's see, 4%. This is Appendix C, yes, 4%, and then 40 years. That's going to be 95.026. So let's do the calculation. $1 million divided by 95.026. That's going to be 10,523. This is how much you have to put aside every year for 40 years to end up with $1 million if the interest rate is compounded at 4%. So I'm going to stop here And I'm going to continue with more recordings with both theory and applications.